Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to M-Class Podcast.
Oh my god, it's fucking Family Feud. Oh my god, it's Jock Jams.
It's always Jock Jams in this house, baby.
Jock Jams! Dude.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is M-Class Podcast, the show where we sit down with a piece of Star Trek media, we dissect it, we talk about it, we make all types of crass humor jokes that you laugh at, and then you give us your money.
Yeah, that's how it works. That's exactly how it goes every time.
I'm Jeff.
Hi, I'm Josh.
And this is our 50th episode of M-Class Podcast.
Oh my god. Did you get me? What is 50? What's 50? Diamonds?
Gold.
Gold?
50 is gold.
What's 25? Silver, and
Yeah.
diamonds is like 75?
Yeah, once we get to the 75th issue, we will both die in our sleep.
Oh, good. It'll be finally over. Good.
Oh my god, finally. I can rest.
And I just vanish like Yoda.
So this episode is very special because we're going to be talking about the TNG episode Darmok,
Oh my goddamn, I love it.
which we definitely planned for, and it didn't just end up that way.
Yeah, we definitely are smart thinkers ahead of things and planners.
Yeah, this is not a special episode, everybody. It's not special at all. It's just a normal one.
So, this is like, I guess, some behind the curtain Wizard of Oz, how the sausage is made. Usually, last year we did a April Fool's joke.
Yes, we're not going to tell you what episode that was, so that people will still fall for it, like they still do.
And we didn't do one this year, and I had an idea, but we didn't have, like, time to do it. I thought we could, like, do an episode and then just talk about, like, some other show. I thought that would be funny. Like, Longmire or something.
We did that on Rider Club Radio. We just started talking about Power Rangers instead of Kamen Rider.
Totally different show.
Yeah, that show's dead. You can still listen to it. It's up.
No, I mean, like, those two shows are super different.
There's one guy on one of them, and then there's 6 on the other. Duh.
And sometimes there's another one. There's a secret one.
Yeah, sometimes.
Right? Are you counting the White Ranger?
Oh, yeah, that's 6.
Oh, he's the 6.
Yeah.
Oh. Wait,
anyway.
Isn't there less than 6 of them, though? Sometimes there's like only
5
4
of them.
Oh,
Sometimes there are 3, and then like 1 or 2 will join afterwards, but that's real rare.
Yeah, when they go into like space and shit, there's like 2 of them.
Power Rangers sucks, right?
Yeah,
like,
Power Rangers is dumb. Yeah.
If you want to watch good
season.
Power Rangers, you can watch Super Sentai, which is like a kung fu movie, but with Power Ranger stuff. It's pretty good.
But Tommy's not in it.
Good.
But Jason's not in it.
Did you know Jason became a paramedic?
I did know that.
Do you know that Tommy became a tap-out sponsored fucking douchebag that acts like an asshole everywhere he goes?
I think I was at a thing with him. One of the things I did, he was at. I don't remember what it was. But I didn't meet him or anything, but he was there.
The last time I saw him at a convention, he stood up on a table and started chanting his own name.
Tommy?
Yeah. He started.
Did he say Tommy, or did he say whatever his dumb real name is that nobody cares about?
He said his dumb real name, and people started chanting it because fucking, people.
What are you gonna do?
And it got so loud and disruptive that every security guard in the center came by and forced him to get off his desk. And they had to take him back and give him a talk about it.
Dude, try to fucking subdue that guy. He'll fucking morph and kill you. He's got
Go
swords.
fucking call the Dragon Zord and you'll be done.
He'll play his fucking flute knife and kill you.
Your fucking convention center is destroyed by the Dragon Zord.
Eat shit. EGLX or wherever it was.
That guy. If you're listening, become a patron or fuck off. Those are your choices.
He is. He already is a patron.
He's a patron?
How could he not be?
Today we're going to be talking about the TNG episode from Season 5, Episode 2, called Darmok.
Oh my god. I think we're done. That's it. The episode's great. We did it.
It's one of the best episodes of television.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, it's like studied. It's so good.
Like this episode was written by Joe Menosky, who wrote other episodes of Star Trek. 36 episodes of Voyager, unfortunately.
That sucks that he had to do that to make money.
A lot of his TNG episodes, oh my god, he fucking wrote Masks. Okay, this is a fluke.
Oh, he wrote Masks? He's the best guy!
This guy's a fucking... This episode's a fluke. How did he write this? Well, it was Philip Lazebnik who actually wrote it.
He wrote Masks, but he also wrote First Contact, which is a good episode.
Yeah. Also, like, 8 other people wrote that, so...
Oh, yeah, with Mark Scott Zickery.
Philip Lazebnik also worked on the scripts for the Disney films Pocahontas and Mulan.
Oh, good.
So that's good. Those are good. Well, Mulan's a good movie. I haven't seen Pocahontas since I was a kid, so probably
I don't
not.
like Pocahontas because, like, the end is... I've never seen it, but the end is bullshit because that lady died on a boat from, like, some English white person disease.
Yeah,
and
she also married a different white guy.
Wait, did she marry John Smith?
No, she married another guy named John. But
John A. Smith, not John B. Smith.
No, his name is not Smith. Like, apparently, like, in the real story, the real thing that happened, John Smith was an adult and she was 12 fucking years old. So they did not get married. She ended up getting married to a different white guy when she was 17.
I mean, they were doing all kinds of weird shit like that back then, so...
True. And she lived in England for a while, but then, like, on a boat to go see her people again, she died of white people disease.
Yeah, she got, like, fucking yellow fever or some shit, which, like, killed you instantly back then.
So, anyway, beyond those, this episode was directed by Winrick Colby.
That's a real name and not at all a fake name.
His name is Winrick Ernst Rudolph Colby.
Man, he's like a butler.
It's like butler? It's like the name of a guy who died in the Civil War.
General Winrick Colby at the Battle of Bull Run.
But he was born in the Netherlands while it was occupied during World War II.
Okay.
He worked on all 4 Star Trek spin-off series, and he was in Vietnam, which he drew from the experiences of when he directed the Siege of AR-558 for Deep Space Nine.
Oh, that's great. I did not know. That's very interesting. How interesting.
Here's a real fun fact for you.
That was just a warm-up fun fact.
That was the warm-up. This is a real one. Colby... made the tabloids, got a little bit tabloid famous.
Does he like getting shoved up vaginas too?
No. Well, everybody loves that. But he's,
well, yeah.
He started dating Captain Catherine Janeway, Kate Mulgrew, which after she got divorced.
Oh boy,
and
he jumped right in.
Their relationship ended when Mulgrew got engaged to her second husband. However, Colby was still married during all this.
Well, that would pretty much end your relationship, the engagement.
Yeah.
To not you.
It didn't... The fact that he was married didn't end his relationship with Kate Mulgrew.
Maybe he's got some kind of Netherlands open relationship thing. Who knows?
Maybe. He looks like that type of guy. He's got like a mullet and a mustache, so...
Oh, party in the front and party in the back.
Anyway, there's your John Larroquette fun fact of the week. Kate Mulgrew will date a married man. Fuck it.
I kind of assume she would.
Oh yeah,
she's a redhead, right? Yeah, she's redheaded. They're crazy, dude. They're nuts. We'll do anything. I'll date anything.
Anything?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, legally.
Okay. That makes a big difference.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think I needed to say that, but I guess I will.
I won't. As long as you're not going to date my cats, I'm fine with it.
No, I'm going to date your cats. I'm going to date you, and you're married, so... I mean, every Wednesday we have a date.
That's
every
true.
other Wednesday.
We got a Star Trek date.
Yeah. Go to bed, Jeff's wife. Get out of here.
Her name is Crystal. She's
She's
about tired of being Jeff's wife, I've heard.
I don't know. Well, some people don't like to have their name said, so that's why. Sorry, Crystal.
At this point, she's listening to it like, oh my god, shut the fuck up, Jeff.
We both are thinking that.
She, look, I'm never gonna. You fucking can both get used to
it. I'm kidding.
Because I always say my wife all the time.
Yeah, but you say it like my wife.
My wife, yeah. I always say my wife, but she's like, you should probably use my name, right? And I'm like, sure, I'll do that.
Yeah, I know some people don't like to.
I tried to keep it a secret that I was married to begin with.
Yeah,
and because I didn't want people bothering her.
Yeah,
but, I was on another podcast, and one of my friends came on to guest the very first time he was on, and he was like, "What about your wife, Jeff?"
And you're like, "Great, thank you."
And I was like, "Well, all right, I guess people know now. Whatever."
Yeah.
And now that we've gone down that winding, pointless story, let's talk a little bit about this episode. Before we hop into it, Josh, front load this episode. What do you think of Darmok?
It's the greatest episode of the decade that it was made in, of any television, probably.
Oh yeah, this is 1991,
Easily.
so we were stepping right into the 90s.
It's considered like the best Star Trek Next Generation episode. Although some people will argue that there's better ones.
It's all down to personal taste at that point. But this is, I think it's almost impossible to watch this episode and not put it at least in your top or second slot.
It's easily top three, solidly top three, right? You could probably pick one or two others that maybe you like better or whatever, but yeah. I mean, there's nothing that this episode doesn't do. It's great.
This is distilled Star Trek. This is the essence of Star Trek.
This is if Star Trek was a fine bourbon that's been just aged. You know, I don't know. How do they do that? What do they do with that?
They put it
in
a barrel
for 100 years, right?
Yeah,
it's 100-year bourbon. It's goddamn immaculate.
Oh my god, I would love to take a nice sip of the episode Darmok right now.
Fuck, we should make some Darmok bourbon.
I bet we could make fucking Darmok and Jalad bourbon.
Just no context to that. We just wanted to make it. It's an analogy, get it?
Bourbon at Eladrel is what we'll call it.
Eladrel. Eladrel is a really cool name.
It is a really cool name. Apparently it's Eladrel 4. I didn't know that.
Oh, that's where they're on. That's the planet they're on.
But I go back and forth between this and The Inner Light as being my favorite episode of Star Trek ever.
Yeah, it's really tough to pick between the two of them.
Really, Darmok is a better representation of Star Trek, though.
Yeah, I think I would say Inner Light is probably a better written story, but this is a better Star Trek written episode, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I believe that though. I said it and it didn't feel right.
It's hard. It's impossible. to choose.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not the greatest at picking favorites anyway. I'm really good at just and I'm sure people have wanted to call me out before because one episode I'll be like, this is my favorite, and then the next one I'll completely contradict that shit.
Yeah, but that just means that this show is good because you can watch it and be like, no, this is my favorite, right? You're living in the moment.
I'm really quick to just throw out an answer. Because people hate it when you're I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to tiptoe around it. We're doing a podcast that comes out every Wednesday. We gotta make decisions.
We gotta be firm. We gotta be resolute.
We gotta be hard. We gotta be firm. We gotta be erect.
Turgid.
Gotta be full of cum.
Young and dumb. So this episode is great. There's no tiptoeing around it. It's fucking immaculate. Yeah. It's top 3 of every list of the best episodes of Star Trek, unless you're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Unless you're a big dumb dummy.
Yeah, which you're not, because you're listening to this. So, good job.
A lot of you don't share our opinions on Star Trek. And
Who doesn't?
everybody has been very respectful with their opinions, which is wild considering how abrasive we are on this show.
I'll fight him. Who doesn't like this one?
Everybody likes this one.
Name names.
Everybody's fucking... Oh my god, he named names.
Make me a list. I'll deal with it.
Oh god. Josh McCarthy over here.
We'll hold trials.
Nobody said that this episode isn't great. I've never heard that. You'd have to be brain
good.
dead to think that.
Thank God. I was going to lose more faith in humanity.
But there are people who, like, we talk about some random episode and they have, like, different opinions than us. That's fine. Everybody's been very respectful with it. But like I said, I've never heard a single person say anything negative about this episode.
It's great. There's nothing to say.
There are, like, questions that arise that are fun to think about. Like,
Okay.
how did they create this language that's based entirely on metaphors before the things happened that the metaphors are based
Well,
on?
the metaphor would just change like the language changes. Like, we didn't always call bananas bananas before we knew what a banana was, right?
That does make sense. The question becomes, like, languages always form slowly over time.
Yeah.
Is it, like... How do you have the words? I guess that's a fucking regular question about anything. Like, where do the words come from?
Where do the words come from? Yeah. I mean, it's just any word.
It always goes back to the same problem as any language.
Yeah. And sometimes, like, you can know exactly where the word comes from in some cases, and sometimes there's some gray area where you're like, well, they were using it here, and then they were saying, like, a similar thing over here for it, you know? Like, it's just super complicated. What's, I think, fascinating about this society is that, like, their education system is just story time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, go to school and learn stories. Like, amazing. That would be fucking amazing.
You know there's some fucking, like, one of the children of Tama that's like, I don't want to learn about fucking Darmok.
Darmok and Gelada.
But how does he tell people he doesn't want to learn about Darmok? You gotta learn it to tell people.
You gotta learn a story about... Yeah, it's words, though. Like, I don't remember learning how to speak, do you? I just remember knowing how to do it. Do you really?
I remember I got up from my crib, I put on my suit jacket, and I said, today I will learn words.
You know what, Jeff? I believe it.
My voice when my voice changed, it became less deep and manly.
And then your mom was in the other room and she's like, go to bed, Jeff!
I will return to my crib and my slumber once my thirst for knowledge has been slaked.
Sate my thirst for knowledge, books. And then you, like, picked up a book and read it.
The book floated across the room with my psychic giant brain powers.
You're like a Jedi. You're like the kid from the Twilight Zone who wishes things.
I was like the Telosians. I had this giant pulsating brain head when I was a baby.
I knew you were a weirdo.
I didn't know how weird. I thought you were just into weird sex shit, but...
I thought you were just a lizard man, but turns out you're a freak.
Not like a lizard man. That'd be normal.
That's more normal than what you are, freako.
Oh my god, it's starting to hurt my feelings. I'll just crush your head psychically.
Oh no. Oh no. As you did that, a thing fell off of my table. Good work. Good fucking job.
I did that.
Nice work.
So, we'll take a break real quick and we'll be back to jump directly into the episode Darmok. I feel like this is going to be a quick one.
Yeah.
Because it's so fucking good, but...
I don't know how much we can suck this episode's dick for another hour.
Dude, my jaw is limber and ready.
Oh.
We will be right back after these messages.
Oh my.
A savage kidnapping.
You're holding our captain. I want him released.
And Picard is forced to play a dangerous game of survival. No! Now there is only one way to bring him back alive.
It's gonna take me at least a full day to do it. Captain Picard could be dead by then.
And it could lead to a full-scale war.
Stand by to fire, Mr. Worf.
We cannot survive another hit.
Deadly encounter on another exciting episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
And we're back. Hopefully you purchased that good or service and we can keep the lights on here at Satellite M.
Yeah, we just use one light.
I used an S. Get out of
We
here.
huddle around it.
It's
No.
where our heat comes from, too.
It's also the pee area, so...
Aw, we were supposed to pee in the corners. You fucked it.
Oh, like, is that what animals do? They pee in the corner?
Yeah, like us, animals.
Is this like a Harry Potter rules? Can we just piss our pants and then, like...
Teleport it away.
Yeah, the replicator just, like, vaporizes it out of our crotch areas.
Wasn't that, like, the most important addition to the Harry Potter lore?
I totally get why people get mad at her. Like, I totally get it. Like,
It's so hilarious, though.
like, that one's, like, kind of funny and shit. And, like, the other one's, like, I don't care. Like, Dumbledore's gay. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. Whatever. But, like, I get it. I get, like, did we need to... It's like the 2 dicks thing. Did we need 2 dicks? I don't know.
Do we need to know that they poop in the hallway? Apparate it?
Yeah, like, is that really adding to the story, Mr. George Lucas? I mean,
Where did they send it?
J.R.R. What's her name?
Now I
What is
don't
her name?
remember. J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling, thank you.
Yeah. Where did they send it to? Was there just a
dimension?
giant fucking pile of shit outside that they sent it to?
I guess it's magic, so it just goes nowhere. It just goes, right?
I guess,
who cares?
yeah, once you start looking at the rules of the universe a little too closely.
They don't have, like, entropy, and the laws of conservation don't apply, right? Like, there's no second law of physics.
Yeah, there was, like,
Right.
literally nobody was reading those books going like, man, I wonder what they did before they broke down and got indoor plumbing.
Why isn't Hermione shitting?
Like, everybody's got a shit, bro.
Hermione, take a dump. You're cranky.
People watched like 100,000 seasons of the Brady Bunch, and they didn't have one toilet in that fucking house, and
Yeah,
nobody
they didn't even-
cared.
They didn't have a bathroom.
They had the bathroom, but there was a bathtub and no toilet. That was what the bathroom was.
Because it was uncouth to show the toilet, right?
Yeah, that's
Couldn't
where
show a
people put
toilet.
their butt, and poop
That's
comes
where-
out.
Butts and vaginas and peepees go. Can't
And
show it on
all
TV.
types of liquids and solids come out of those things.
Yeah,
we don't need to be
period.
showing that on national television.
Period blood.
So the Enterprise D
Yep, the one.
is on a mission to meet the children of Tama. Alternately,
Coolest name.
they're alternately called the Tamarians.
Less cool of a name.
We learned that the Tamarians have met the Federation several times over the last 100 years, but nobody can communicate with them.
Yeah, I would like to, like, J.K. Rowling a story about the first time people run into the Tamarians. And
Like-
it's just like Kelsey Grammer as the bat captain, and he's like, I don't know what the fuck they're saying, and it's like they just
leave. I'm sure that's what happened, where they came up and they were like, hey, we're the Federation, and we see that you're out here in space. We want to, like, establish some diplomatic relations. And they were fucking like, Shaka when the walls fell, and he was just
Niles
like,
at the station.
I don't know what that means, so bye.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like what they do here. They're kind of just like, I don't know, man. But the Tamarians, like, they got a plan, man. They're ready. They're ready for normalized relations.
Yeah,
so.
that's another fun question to ask, is like, what is going on with the Tamarians?
They're probably tired of nobody knowing what the fuck they're saying, right?
Probably.
Like,
But
nobody in the galaxy knows what the fuck these people are talking about.
I mean, they've met the Federation, like, I think they say 7 times
Yeah.
over the last 100 years. What changed for this time that made them go to such, like, desperate lengths in order to establish some type of communication?
Well, is it desperate though? That's the thing. Like, maybe this is just like what they do to their children, even, right? Maybe they like to teach their kids like cooperation. They send them on these like trials and like go out in the woods, survive like Leonidas, right?
I guess it could have been, like, that they didn't know how desperate it was going to seem, like, because they're like, oh, we'll
Right.
just go down there, I'll give him a knife,
Right,
we'll kill the
this
monster, we'll
phase
understand
monster.
each other, it'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll do some hunting. We'll spawn. We'll do some manly hunting together.
But as it turns out, the space monster is invisible and electrified. So Dathan gets his fucked wrecked.
If it was one of those things, it would be bad enough. But it's both of them.
Every time they stab him, they're like, bah!
And the knife turns like hot and shit. Like, fuck that shit, man. I'm not stabbing this thing.
Why didn't you bring phasers?
Yeah, why don't you bring a bigger knife called a sword?
Yeah, the small little, like, jagged knife was a bad choice, I think.
Like, pick a club, maybe? I don't know. Something. Do something.
There's a great Star Trek moment where they try to communicate with one another, and they're both trying their hardest. That's pointed out.
Yeah.
Like, they both really want this communication to go through, but therethe's just this barrier that seems completely insurmountable.
There's really good moments, like, because they're on the ship at this point, talking over the screen, right? Mm-hmm. There's really good moments where there's silence, like, there's just, like, confusion, like, and you don't get a lot of that in, like, a television show, just, like, quiet, right? Like, that's supposed to always be something happening. But there's, like, kind of some silence, and, like, the actors do a good job of, like, not being too, like, hammy, although it does kind of, like, in the beginning, get a little, like, why don't they know how to deal with this, right? But they're just, like, flummoxed by it. They're like, I have no idea what the fuck these idiots are saying.
Even that they're completely flummoxed, which is a great word, by the way. Even when they're completely flummoxed, they're like little sparks of thought that become important later. Like when Data says that they're obviously using the proper nouns of people and places, but they don't know why.
Right. You'd have to know the story, right?
And we don't.
Right.
And that becomes a problem as time goes on.
The question, I think, like, another question would be, like, how do they know all these things that happen on other planets? I guess they just, like, hear about it or something?
Yeah, maybe that was the weird thing, is when Data and Counselor Troy find out that, like, Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra happened on some other planet out there somewhere.
Chantel 3 or some shit like that. I mean, I guess maybe they collect stories. Maybe they're, like, collectors, right? Like,
that's cool.
Maybe they send out, like, their exploration is, like, not exploring the galaxy so much, but exploring, like, much like the Federation, like, exploring cultures, but then they collect their stories. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. That would make a lot of sense as well.
A library race, yeah.
Especially with how much Captain Dathan loves the story, as Picard tells later on.
Dude, the guy who plays him, I don't know what his name is. He's lovable as fuck.
Yeah, he's just a great
cuddle
guy.
That guy.
He's played by Paul Winfield, is the guy's name.
Paul Winfield.
You might recognize as Captain Terrell, the guy who shoots himself to death in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Oh, it's him!
Yep.
Oh, man!
Isn't that awesome? I didn't know that shit either.
Interesting. Now I see it. Yeah, all right.
He's a great actor. Like, he gets so much across by saying the same lines over and over and over again.
Yeah, he does a great job. Wow.
But at a certain point, the captain, Dathan, starts arguing with his first officer. They're just yelling names of places and people, and nobody knows what the fuck they're saying. But obviously the first officer, like, sort of relents, and he gets a little dressing down. He gets his knife taken.
Yeah, which is like, hand in your badge and gun.
Dude, and he tells him Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra.
And the guy's like, ugh, Shaka, when the walls fell.
And then fucking Dathan and Picard get transported off the ship.
Yeah, and everyone's like, fuck, it's happening again. This happens all the time.
We gotta get him back. We gotta get him back.
Yeah.
But it turns out the Temerian vessel is projecting some sort of a field in the ionosphere of the planet that keeps them from using transporters or communications with Picard.
Can't talk to him and can't beam him out. Bad.
But
this is not good.
But they can scan. Like,
right, they can see it.
So like the scattering field has to be specifically tuned to allow them to scan, because otherwise it would block everything.
Right.
So everybody's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, why are they... What's going on? And Worf's like, it's combat. They're going to kill each other.
Yeah,
My
he
two
automatically
dicks can feel
knows,
it.
right? He's like, fucking, remember that episode of TOS?
M-Class Podcast did it last week. It's very similar to this scenario.
I bet there's a Gorn down there.
They only have one dick.
Pathetic.
Pathetic.
Picard, like, he watches the Temerian captain who walks up to him and holds the knife out at him, and he says,
Yeah.
you know, Darmok Gelada Tanagra, and Picard's like, I won't fight you.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm a civilized Englishman who's French in this show.
For
I will not do
seemingly
it.
no reason.
Because we needed a different thing. French people are also a thing.
They're also a thing.
They're people
That'll-
too, I guess. I
That
don't know.
award-winning Star Trek writing.
I'm told that they're people, but my people hate them traditionally. But we've gotten
What a
over it in
traitor.
recent centuries.
What a
World War
traitor
II.
to the English.
They're all the same fucking thing, dude. All those people are the same shit. They came from the same fucking place.
We all did.
Yeah, but especially them, dude.
It's true.
They just hate each other because they're, like, too similar.
It's true. It's like every time Riker meets somebody who's the same as him,
Yeah, he gets mad. And he's like, damn it.
damn it, I hate myself. I mean him.
I'm the biggest swinging dick around these parts.
I'm the biggest swinging single dick around these parts. My dick is twice the size of Worf's two dicks put together.
Whoa! Alaska, the biggest state of dicks.
So, Worf, like Josh said, Worf says, you know, it's a battle between champions.
Yeah,
Their
yeah.
captain and ours.
Which is like arena, right? Like, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, like we're doing arena again, sure.
And I love that throughout this whole episode, Troy seems aggravated with Worf. Every time
Yeah,
he says
dude.
something, she's like, okay, so that's just a guess. We don't know.
What happened? Did they get in an argument? Are they dating at this point?
They're
Like,
not
what is
dating at
going
this
on?
point, but like he's definitely straight up like, fucking let's kill him. And she's like, no, let's figure out something.
Come on, Worf. Yeah, I noticed that too. She's like eye rolls him, dude. Like,
Yeah, a
hard
little
eye
bit.
rolls him. It's like, damn, dude.
But
Getting
like
eye rolled?
right. That's why it takes him so long to start dating. Riker hails up the Temerian first officer, who is kind of a dickhead. Like, you could tell, even though he's just saying the same phrases as Captain
Yeah.
Dathan, it's delivered in such a way. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy was a Ferengi.
If he was a Ferengi, you mean
Like the guy who played him.
Oh yeah, no, I think
was
he,
a
he might have
Ferengi.
been. He might have been.
Let me look that up. I'll tell you.
There's some of the early Ferengis who are more like skeevy-y, like skeevy Ferengis.
I can't look it up. Oh no.
Why?
Oh, no.
What's happening?
The link for the first officer, which is his name, just takes you to the page for first officer.
Oh, that's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, website. But anyway,
First officer is the first officer of a starship. Great.
but Riker has a plan. He's like, look, they obviously have some reason to be teleporting our captain to the surface.
Yeah.
They haven't fired on us. There doesn't seem to be any like hostility. So I'm gonna bet that we'll send a shuttlecraft down to get our captain, and they won't fire on it. They got no fucking balls.
He's pokering, dude. He's like,
Yeah.
my poker face. And that's what he says. And then he gets in the shuttle. Or makes Worf do it, I
yeah,
guess.
he's
right?
like, Worf, you do it.
Yeah. And Worf's like, good. I will. Because in this episode too. I want to get paid today.
I'm very angry today.
Yours is a little closer. Mine's a little more Drac.
It is a little Drac.
I'll get a little Drac over here.
But I love Drac. I'm fine with that.
I love you too, Jeff.
Wow, Drac's here, everybody.
Fucking Drac. He's been in our ice cream vault for fucking months now.
Chunky monkey.
But back on Eladrel, Picard and Captain Dathan are trying to talk, but they still can't because Dathan's talking in fucking hibbity-jibbity language. But he gives Picard one of his knives, and he keeps mentioning Darmok and Gelada Tanagra.
Yeah.
And Picard says, "No, I won't fight you."
He throws the knife back at him.
Throws the knife back at him.
Take the knife, yeah.
And Captain Dathan says, "Shaka, when the walls fell."
Yeah, which means like fuck. This
means
sucks.
we failed.
Yep. It's failure or death. I guess it also means death later.
Yeah, they're both like
says it.
really frustrated at this point, and like in a normal show, you would feel for Picard mostly in this. The other guy would be like inscrutable. You wouldn't get him, but you feel for him too.
Yeah,
he's
you
trying.
You kind of feel more frustrated at Picard. I do now, having seen it like.
Oh yeah,
times.
like we know what it is now, so
Yeah,
we're like fucking wise up, Picard.
Yeah,
it's
like,
a story.
Figure it the hell out. But he does it without a computer, which is incredible.
Oh yeah, what he does is like super impressive.
He's like a human fucking Rosetta Stone. Like, what the fuck, dude? How did you figure that shit out?
Yeah, like I couldn't do that shit.
I'd be like, so Shaka means these 5 things. Okay, got it.
But like Picard tries to make a fire, and Boy Scout training has completely left him.
He sucks at fire making.
He can't do it. But Dathan does this thing which I always found really interesting. Like I love in Star Trek or any sci-fi where an alien being does like a ritual of theirs, and we're not let in on what it means.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Like he places these little metal pieces around him and does like a little 3 fingers on his forehead prayer on each of them.
Yeah.
And then he lays down to go to sleep, but Picard is chattering his teeth so loud.
Yeah, he's like a icicle. He like turns into a frozen turkey because Dathan's also hungry and he wants to eat turkey.
He turns into a big block of ice. And
it's a refrigerator, and he slides out of the refrigerator, like an old-timey refrigerator.
So Dathan picks up a branch and lights it on fire and throws it over, and he says, "Temba, his arms wide."
Yeah, and Picard's like, Temba.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Yeah.
But he says thank you, and Dathan's like, I don't know what that fucking means.
Yeah, Dathan sort of like goes like, like, yep, you got it.
And he goes to sleep.
And then the dawn of the second day title card comes up.
Majora's Mask, yeah. Worf takes the shuttle down with Ensign Kellogg is the lady's name.
Ensign Kellogg. We didn't say the fun fact. We have another fun fact.
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
We're not there yet, but I'm going to shove this in here because she's not Ensign Kellogg, but what's her name? What's her fucking... I don't know. Leffler, and the Lieutenant Leffler, Ensign Leffler is
I think she's Ensign.
Judd.
Yeah, Ashley
It's the first
Judd.
time Ashley Judd did anything, apparently.
Yeah, she's in a couple episodes. She's in Darmok and The Game.
Oh, The Game. Oh, God.
Yeah, she plays Wesley's love interest in The Game.
That's funny, because that guy sucks and she's great.
Yeah, even in the episode, you could tell that they are very mismatched for looks.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense, because he is a hack.
Yes.
And I mean, she's an award-winning actor.
You can see what Ashley Judd grew up to look like, and then you can see what Will Wheaton grew up to look like.
Yeah. Will Wheaton played Slimer, I think, in the new Ghostbusters.
No, that's just what he looks like.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. Sorry. I'm usually better about this.
He's a real-life Slimer. He's what Slimer was before he died.
Now, there's a theory for you.
But, like, they're taking the shuttle down, and, like, their communication's breaking up. And Riker's like, haha, fucking checkmate.
Yeah, he thinks like they're like, we did it, we're getting through, right?
I got a full house. Checkmate.
Checkmate. Folding like a house of cards. Checkmate. Is that Brannigan?
And but the Temerians do fire on the shuttlecraft. However,
Yeah.
they only disable the nacelle, like perfectly.
Yeah, the one engine gets out. Yeah.
Which makes them have to return to the Enterprise. And Riker's like, well, there's no way that like they attacked that precisely,
Right,
and meant to harm us in any way.
Yeah.
Which is one of those little things. Like, there's a whole part of the fan base that hates Riker. We've talked about that before.
Oh yeah, well he's the Kirk, right? He's
Yeah.
this show's Kirk, so of course.
Like, he gets that same sort of reputation where he's like a hot-headed asshole, like, who
Right.
doesn't think before he acts or whatever. But if that was true, he would have opened fire on
Just
the
then,
Temerians at that point, because they opened fire on him. Why wouldn't he?
Right. It's totally rational, right? It's like it's justifiable that you
Yeah.
can defend yourself.
But instead, he notices how precise of a shot it was, so he knows that there was no ill intent meant.
Right.
That takes a leap of faith that, like, nobody would do today in this world that
Not
we live
today,
in.
no, but you're out there. You've seen some shit. This is season 5, right? We've seen a few things.
Mm-hmm.
We're a little more mature. Yeah, I don't know. Riker's really fucking smart, and I think
Oh, yeah.
people don't like him because he's smart and he's cocky. And trust me, from experience, people don't like that.
No, people don't like you having confidence in yourself.
It's very off-putting for lots of people for some reason. I don't know.
I've
why.
noticed that, like, I talk about it in supplemental M-class materials sometimes, that I gained self-confidence, like, in myself beyond just pretending like I had it very recently.
Right, yeah.
Like, in the
Yeah.
past, like, 4 or 5 years is when I got it. And
When you got your second dick.
yeah, when it started growing, there was a little nub coming out, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And it eventually
Yeah.
just a big old wiener flopped out of it. Like a
Crazy.
blossoming flower.
Wow.
Anyway, there's some people that I know who do not
Yeah. take
take kindly to the fact that I'm confident in myself now.
Yeah, people think it's rude or they think you're a dick, and it's like I don't
there
get
are
it,
people-
man. Because I find
There,
it very attractive in everybody. I like that.
like, there's a difference between confidence and arrogance, and cockiness
yes.
is confidence. Arrogance is when you're
Right.
like a huge
better than you,
bitch
yes.
about it, you know?
yes, yeah. When you think you're better than somebody,
Yeah.
like for like no reason. Like I'm not gonna say like I don't think I'm better than people.
Well, Riker doesn't ever act like he's better than anybody.
Right? No, he's a leader. He's a trained leader. So
I love
yeah.
that man.
Yeah, he's great.
But and like
I'd suck his dick.
he's Riker in true commander fashion, in true leader fashion, brings together all of his like top officers to talk about the problem.
He's kind of freaking out at this point.
Oh
a
yeah,
little
he's
bit,
like, fucking,
too,
I
though.
gotta get I gotta get Captain Picard, I gotta get my dad back.
I gotta get my dad back. He's if Riker has one flaw, usually it's that he, if anything, goes by the book too much, right? Like he feels like he needs to do something. He doesn't like to wait. He's not as patient as
No, he
Picard. Where
doesn't-
Picard would be a little more like, well, we got to do something, but let's think a little more about it. But he's a little more antsy.
It's
about
true.
that.
He's not as good under pressure as Picard is. Picard's a lot
Yes.
more level-headed when he's under pressure. Like Riker subdues his own impulses in this episode, but you can
Right.
tell he really wants to solve the problem as fast as humanly possible, because every second that ticks by could mean Picard's life.
Right.
And also they're like in a weird stalemate with the Temerians that they're just locked in at this point.
The language barrier being like extra frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
Like I don't know if you've ever. I mean, there's been times where I've been talking to somebody who's from a different culture, and like I don't know what they're saying, and they're speaking to me as well as they can, and I'm trying to communicate with them as well as I can or whatever. But there's a point when like you kind of just laugh because you're just like I don't know I don't know how to communicate with you, right? Like it's
very frustrating for everybody.
It's frustrating, yeah.
It's why I have like infinite respect for people who know more than one language. That you've gone through that level of like, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, you broke through that barrier, right?
That's like total respect to anybody that knows multiple languages. Like, I'm American. I'm expected to only know one language and poorly at that. So
yeah,
thankful for that.
Yeah.
Flummox. I would love to learn another language, but I have like the shittiest brain for language learning.
I took like 5 years of German, and I never could speak it, but I did get to a point where I could hear it, and I knew basically what was going on.
Yeah.
I couldn't speak German fluently, though. Like, I couldn't go into a situation and start talking to people.
That's how I am with Spanish. Like, I can understand every other word when somebody's speaking Spanish, so I can kind of get the gist.
Spanish is tough. Spanish is tough because it's spoken so quickly.
It's true.
It's like, oh my god, like I can't.
The thing with speaking it for me was like conjugation of verbs.
Yeah, that's the hardest part.
And you don't think about it, but if you don't conjugate correctly, it's basically like if you're talking to somebody and you're like, you want to tell them, can you hand me that vase? And instead you say, can you hand this vase?
Right.
Like you're talking like a weird caveman because you're not using the right conjugation.
Yeah, it sucks, man. I wish we just had the chips in our head. I'm fucking all for the chip in my brain. Put it in
Trace
there.
me.
I want to learn.
Fuck.
Dude, fuck it. Where am I gonna go?
Yeah, like fucking whatever. Trace me. Like you'll see a little blip sitting in my house forever.
Oh, the blip's jerking off again. That's what happens when you get your second dick.
Shut it down. Shut it down for a while.
I could stand to watch a little more. Johnson!
Do it on your own time. Hook up to the feed at your house.
And then it's them watching him watching the... Oh my god, this is dystopian as fuck.
Yeah, unless you're into it. Then it's utopian. But, like, Riker sends Data and Counselor Troy to, like, figure out how to communicate with him. And he gives them, like, a hard deadline. He's like, I need to know something within a few hours. Like...
Yeah, he's very much like, we gotta figure this out. You guys gotta do it. So you get, like, a fun Data Troy thing, which you don't usually get unless, like, Data's learning how to cry or something.
Yeah, like, he's trying to learn some emotion. He always goes to Troy about it. But it's nice to see them working together for an outside goal.
Yeah.
And it's funny that, like, they react to the difficulty of it completely different, where Data is very much, like, he's empathetic to her aggravation in it, which is very, like, it's one of those touches that lets you know that Data's becoming more human as the show goes along that they don't comment on.
He does this thing, like, I mean, the actor is doing a good job of him being, like, thoughtful, like Data, like you'd have, like, I start thinking about, like, why is Data, like, furrowing his brow? Because he's thinking. So Data's programmed, or he learned over the years, like, working with humans or whoever, like, you should make your face look like this because that means you're thinking,
like,
right? You know what I mean? Like,
in that way.
Yeah. Right, which is all we ever do. That's all any of us ever
I mean,
do,
we
right?
learn to do this from seeing other people do it.
Right.
And it's why, like, if somebody doesn't have that sort of, like, interaction with people as they grow up, they're some, like, weird robot person to us because they don't do all the dumb shit we all do at each other.
They don't fall for the, like, this is the language of facial expressions we're speaking now, right? Like, this episode is so deep. It's so simple. It's like one of those things where you're like, how can something so simple mean so much? It's amazing. Like,
I took a class in college, probably based somewhat on how much I love this episode. I took a linguistics course as one of my, just like, you have to take a certain amount of general education courses.
Right.
Like, I took a linguistics course to understand...
Cunning Linguistics 101.
Yeah. I took it to understand language a little bit better because, like, the seed came from this episode, seeing it when I was younger and, like, wondering where language comes from. I met a lady named Crystal in that class.
Is that your wife, or is this another?
That is
lady
my
named
wife.
Crystal?
So
Do you have two wives named Crystal? Is that a thing?
shut up, Josh.
Did you multiplicity your wife?
So I probably have this episode somewhere back in the back of my brain to thank for getting married. So thanks.
Wow, that's the ultimate fun fact.
Thank you, Darmok.
Thank you, Captain Dathan.
Dathan is
got
really
me
responsible. Thanks, Dathan. You got me laid thin. That wasn't that good. That was alright, but
It was great the way you said it.
but like they're figuring out that they're using names, proper nouns for everything,
yeah,
and
they're like scanning like the sector, like all these different like cultures that exist in the sector or whatever, which is like a very big part of space.
And the best part is like the computer is like, well, look up Darmok, and it's like it's a king on this planet. It's a frozen dessert on this planet. This long list.
Let's go there. Computer, take us to where the Darmoks are
Holy
served.
shit, that sounds great. Let's go check that out.
Fuck this mission. We're going to get Darmoks.
But they do some cross-referencing. The secret true way to gain knowledge. Cross-referencing information.
Which the computer could have probably just been like, are you looking for this?
Yeah.
Right? Because we have computers that do that.
They didn't know about that shit in 1991.
Like, we could say, like, Alexa, find, like, whatever, and you get it kind of right, and it's, like, playing whatever it knows, right?
You, like, type in to Federation Google
right,
Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra.
And it'll fucking find
and
it.
it says, do you mean the language of the Tamarians? And you're like, oh yeah, click on that shit.
Why didn't we look at this? That was a bit easier.
But they learn a lot about the language just from cross-referencing. They gain a little insight into the fact that, Josh was positing, that they might be storytellers. Yeah. They might be collecting stories in order to create their language. Unfortunately, we now know how it's put together, but we know absolutely none of the references.
Don't know the stories.
It's like going into a group of teenagers and they start throwing memes around. You don't know what the fuck is happening in there.
Yeah. I don't like to get memed at. It sucks.
I'm not a big meme fan.
It's embarrassing.
Like Jordy and Ensign Ashley Judd.
That's her name.
They try to figure out a way to get through the dampening field with the transporters.
Yeah.
Because if they can get one beam down through it very concentrated, then maybe they can get Picard out of there.
Yeah, so they're trying to, like, still work on that shield shit.
And
multi-vectored mission accomplishments going on here.
Yeah, it's like when you fill a balloon with too much air. Back on the planet, Picard and Dathan are like still just kind of sitting across from each other.
Yeah.
And like Picard wakes up and Dathan isn't there.
Oh, that's right. He goes and looks at his trinkets, and he has like a sweet notebook. I guess,
yeah, it's like a metal notebook, and it looks awesome.
Cool. I kind of want one, but I don't know what I would do with it.
I guess you would write little squigglies in it, and you would call it the Tamarian language. You know what I was wondering though? Is the Tamarian language the same written language, the same as the spoken language?
Yeah, I guess you would write out like, yeah, because that's how.
I mean, there have been historically languages that are like different written than they are spoken, and you have to learn
Mayan,
each of them differently.
Yeah, Egyptian even. You're asking, is it alphabetical? I don't know.
It's probably like representational, like the language.
It could be pictures.
Yeah, like pictographs.
Yeah, it's probably that, because like it would show it would make more sense if it was. It would show more of a story in a picture than a word could, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason why it would be alphabetical, in my opinion.
Like, if I was the one that was, like, making the background information, like, if I was writing a novel about these characters, which a lot have been written. I think at least 3 novels have been written about the Tamarians.
About the children of whatever.
The children of Tama.
Children of the corn.
But, like, Dathan runs around the corner, like, very comedically, going, Darmok and Gelada Tanagra! Darmok and Gelada Tanagra! And he gives him a knife. He's like, take the knife. And Picard's like, no, I'm too good for that.
Yep.
I'm too good for you, Dathan.
And he's like, God damn it!
Just take the knife!
He's like, we're fucking getting attacked by a predator!
But then the Triceratops predator in the distance, like...
The dino saucer.
He starts roaring, and Picard's like, I'll take that knife now.
Yeah, he's kind of getting what's going on. Picard's sort of like, okay. And then Dathan is like, what does he say? Is it Temba again?
Yeah, Temba, his arms wide.
His wide, and his arms closed. And he's kind of like showing him. He's like, look, we're going to do this.
Oh, yeah, that happens, like, after the commercial break we're about to go to. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsor.
Police Academy!
This is Jones. Numbskull's robbing the bank.
Each sold separately.
Come in, Mahoney. I'm on the case.
Cops! I'm out of here!
It's karate time. Hi-ya! Sorry, Tackleberry. Eject! Oh! Look who dropped in. You're under arrest. And underwater. Case closed. Where'd he go? I'll blast him.
Police Academy. Crash Cycle, Mahoney, Jones, and other figures, each sold separately.
And we're back with more tainted action.
No, they don't know what we're talking. They have no reference for this. They don't know.
Taint my problem.
All right, you want me back. All right.
Anyway, so the Triceratops monster, the dino saucer,
Tricerapred.
the dino saucer.
Dino saucers!
It's coming towards Picard and Dathan, and Picard has taken the knife. He realizes what's happening a little bit. They're supposed to be working together.
And that's just when he realizes how they speak. He's like, the line, like, he says it so great, he delivers it, he's like, by metaphor! He, like finally, like, eureka! Like, he
by
gets
metaphor, yeah.
By metaphor! Like, he gets it, right?
And basically, Dathan wants to do a pincer attack.
Yeah, pincer maneuver. Classic pincer maneuver.
Pincer maneuver, undefeatable. Always use it.
Never been defeated except for the time it was, all those times it was.
No. Always won, Josh. Never been defeated.
Yeah, tell that to the Germans in Africa, dude.
But Worf up in the ship is like, he's picking up that there's a weird disturbance in the Force.
Yeah, he says that.
He's like, it's near where the captain is, and it's closing in on them. So the situation has become more dire. And Riker is done waiting.
Yeah, there's imminent danger. He doesn't know, like, I mean, they don't know up on the Enterprise, like, where, like, why this monster is there. Like, why would the Temerians beam their captain down if the monster was there? Is the monster part of the thing? You know, they don't know what's going on. So.
They have no idea, so they want to get Picard out of there as fast as possible. And there's a great exchange where Riker's like, how long will it take, Geordi? And he's like, I don't know, 2-3 hours. And he's like, do it now!
Yeah, and Geordi's like,
just like Geordi's like, it's not gonna work, but I'll do it. And he's like, make it happen. He's like that boss. He's like, make it happen.
Yep.
So O'Brien's in on it. He's in this episode. He has like 2 lines, and they're yes, sir.
Yeah. Then he turns around and he like fiddles with a thing, and then he says, "We're ready."
Yeah. He's like, he touches the wall, and nothing on the wall changes, and he's like, all right, it's ready.
I guess I fixed it. I don't know.
But, like...
I don't know what I'm doing down here.
the Triceratops monster attacks Dathan and Picard, and they start trying to stab it with their wee little knives.
Yeah.
But they get electrocuted every time they stab it.
Yeah, maybe a rubber knife? Like what? Like I don't know. Like what the fuck? What is this knife supposed to do, man? Like what?
They didn't plan ahead very well for fighting this monster.
Maybe use a rock. I don't know. Like something that's not gonna conduct electricity as much. Like anything else besides a metal knife.
The monster pretty much just starts disemboweling Dathan on the ground.
Yeah, well, it throws. We get a sweet Star Trek shirt rip. We get like a
Which was
throwback.
Very Kirk, very Arena getting the shirt ripped. Although it's more like the Kunat Caliphie on Vulcan.
Yeah, it's more like a very samurai, like goofy kung fu movie shirt rip where it's like
straight across the chest.
Close. Yeah, straight across. Yeah.
But like they finally get the transporter going, and it traps Picard where he can watch as the monster tears Dathan apart, but he can't do anything about it.
Yeah, Dathan's getting janked up, dude.
And they like fight with the transporter, trying to get him to his like particles back on. But
it's great. He's yelling. He's like, no, like he's like stop, like to the Enterprise, right? Like, and it's like really heart wrenching.
We've only got part of him. We can't keep hold.
Yeah.
And they finally have to send him back, and like the monster is left, and Dathan's just torn to fucking pieces, and Picard like holds onto him, and he says, "Shaka." Picard says, "When the walls fell."
Yep, we fucked up. Fail.
We failed.
It's such a failure. Like pudding is coming out of his nose.
Oh yeah.
It's gross.
It is gross. You're supposed to be keeping your pudding inside, Dathan.
Yeah, come on, man.
The monster knocked my pudding out of me.
Oh, my pudding's escaping.
Oh no, I wanted that pudding to be inside me.
My pudding sack.
He ruptured my pudding sack.
My pudding sack. Shaka, when the pudding sack fell.
And Picard's like, pudding.
And then he turns into a turkey with pudding inside it. Weird.
But like the Temerians are like tired of them fucking messing with it, so they turn the scattering field to 11.
Yeah.
So they can't do
they're like
shit.
sick of it. They're sick of it. And they're like, guys, fucking what the shit.
So Riker's like, we're gonna have to fire on them.
Yeah, we gotta fight them.
Is there any way that we can just knock the generator that's turning the scattering field on? Can we just knock it out?
Like filling a balloon with too much air.
Yeah, can we fill it with too much air and then fucking explode it without killing all of them? And Geordi's like, I fucking guess.
He's still salty. He's still like, fine.
If you would have just waited 2 hours, my shit would have worked before.
And they would have been fine. The captain would have probably been fine.
Yeah, but Riker doesn't know. He's just like, fucking, I need my dad back.
It's a good lesson in, like, maybe you don't always have to do stuff to do the right thing,
Maybe
right?
you should trust in your captain.
Yeah, be patient a little bit.
Although
me saying this is ludicrous because I'm like the least patient person on Earth.
Also, like, they literally know nothing that's happening right now. It's literally their captain has been kidnapped and they can't get to him. That's all they know.
Yeah, they're not like handling this. Their dad being away.
I need my dad.
What are we gonna do if there's an emergency?
What are
we left $100 on the table, but we spent it on beer.
What are we gonna do for dinner tonight? Dad's gone.
Ice cream for dinner, bitch.
Pudding for dinner. I know just where we can get some. But they scan the planet and they find that Dathan's life signs are pretty low. Like he's dying, but the Temerians do nothing. And they're like, what the fuck is happening?
Fuck? Yeah, they're like, you guys are idiots, right? Because we're humans and we're like, what are you doing? Fix it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
do it our way. What are you doing?
This is the way you do it, right? Yeah.
Back on the planet, Picard is like dragged Dathan off, and Dathan's like fucking super dying. Like every time he like cringes in his pain, you feel it.
That's what happens when you get fucked up by a fucking triceratops that has electricity for blood.
Oh my god, what a nightmare monster.
It's horrible. You don't even see it. It's horrible.
But like Picard slowly figures out through Dathan like slowly sort of explaining parts of the story, like Darmok on the ocean.
Right.
Like Tanagra on the ocean. Like
it's an island.
We find out Darmok and Jalad, two legendary warriors, arrived at an island separately, fought a monster, and became friends. They left the island together.
It's a very familiar story to one that
Yep.
we are going to know about, we already should.
I love the way he says, like, Darmok and Jalad on the ocean.
Right, like, it's like, yep.
They did it.
They did it, yep. You're beginning to, like, read into the language. Like, okay, I get how they speak. Because it's not just, like, the story, it's contextual, too. Like,
oh, yeah. It's like, the inflection, it's the context.
Yes.
Everything matters in their language.
Yeah.
And, like, Picard realizes that this whole thing was a recreation of Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra, and it was meant so that they would sail away together as friends.
Right.
And he says, you know, you tell everything by stories. And Dathan holds his hands out finally, because Picard's been holding his hands out and saying, you know, like,
right.
Temba, his arms wide, which means, like, tell me more, I guess.
Yeah, he wants more, right?
Like,
yeah.
gimme.
Give me something. Yeah, give me something. Yeah.
And so Dathan says it. He says, Temba, his arms wide.
Yeah,
so he wants
you want
a
me to
story.
tell you a story. Yeah, yeah.
Picard tells the story of Gilgamesh and Enkidu. And Uruk,
Yep.
which is, like, the first story, as far as we know.
Yeah, it's like the, like, Stories 101, right? Like,
It's like historically,
Babylonian.
Historically, it's the first story that was written down.
Yeah, the only one that we know of that was, right? So
it's the one that goes furthest back.
Yeah.
And, like, Dathan loves the story.
Yeah.
Because it's the same story.
It's the same it's the same story, but it's also what's happening.
Oh yeah, because Enkidu dies.
Because Enkidu dies, right? This is where the episode is, like, amazing. And you're like, this is brilliant. Like, this is brilliant. This is a fucking brilliant episode.
Yeah, like, Dathan gives up his life in the search of communication.
Yep.
He just like, in order to create that connection for his people and our people, he sacrificed everything.
Yeah.
And Picard
They're just like us.
realizes
They're just like the
this.
Federation, right? Like,
yeah.
They're the same thing. Which makes sense, like, to, like, my theory or whatever, that, like, they're explorers, too. Like, they're looking for stories, right? Like, why would you go through all this for nothing, right? Like, there's got to be some kind of... They probably have, like, their own prime directive or whatever, right? Like,
they came out into space 100 years ago in this area to try to understand the others that were out there and to try to find out, you know, what type of stories did they have.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's how they got part of their language. Maybe that's why they know of Darmok and Jalad.
Right. Yeah, maybe they heard it, or maybe they liked it a lot. Who knows, right? Who knows?
Back on the Enterprise, our stupid heroes are about to open fire on the Temerians.
We're going to war! Yeah.
And they disable the scattering generator so they can beam Captain Picard back aboard. But the Temerians are fucking pissed, and
they're not cool with it.
They, like, cripple the warp drive of the Enterprise in one shot. Like, apparently they're really powerful as well.
I guess, yeah, I guess so.
And, like, the ship is about to be fucking obliterated by the Temerians, but Picard walks in and he just goes, "Hail them!"
Yep. Yeah, he gets beamed back. Oh, the monster on the planet starts to attack him again. So Dathan dies, right? Like, he croaks. Death rattles. Pudding comes out of his face.
Picard very tastefully and very, like, holding back as hard as he can, does not eat any of the pudding.
Which is crazy. Because
free fucking pudding, dude? Come on.
I'm eating pudding. I'm sorry. I'm not good enough to not eat that.
No, I would eat Dathan's face pudding in a second.
It looks good.
But, like, the Temerians are fucking pissed. They're like Milli Vanilli on stage. That's what they say when they. And
what the fuck?
I can't remember what they said. So fuck it.
That's fucking the best reference of the entire show. Milli Vanilli on stage. They're faking it?
And Picard, like, starts using their metaphors back at him, and they're all like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. Yeah, he can speak to us, yeah. Like, he did it.
And like
he says, Tanagra, another guy on the ocean.
And they beam his Dathan's journal onto their ship.
Yeah,
and like
his Kniffy.
The new captain of the ship, I guess, he's not the first officer anymore. Yeah. Says Picard and Dathan at Eladrel.
Yeah, it's like a new thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important.
Picard offers the knife, but the Tamarian lets him keep it.
Oh, that's right. He lets him have the knife.
So back in his ready room, Picard is reading some like Homer. He's reading some mythology.
Yep, Homer.
And he says maybe
not Simpson.
No, the less good Homer.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what season you're on, the less good Homer.
I mean, now it might be better than that Homer.
But like, he explains to Riker that like maybe if they can get more familiar with their own mythology, maybe that will help them figure out a way to understand the Tamarians better.
Which is like not even like. That's like the 5th awesome lesson in the show, right? Like, there's so many things happening in this episode, and like, we get a little inner light at the end where he like does his little ritual that
he does the 3
doing.
fingers. He touches the knife and touches into his forehead, and he stares out into space.
Yeah, they go back to that, which I like. I think it's appropriate and well done. That they go back to that, like him playing the flute again, right? Like. It's a good Picard moment.
The silent reflection of what's been lost is like the Picard moment in anything. Right. I think.
Right. Yeah, like they could have been friends even, right? Like because they were like at the end they were pals, dude. They went through battle together. They were connecting on a way that like people don't do usually.
Oh yeah.
And like to have Dathan die is like a loss for all of us, right? Like it sucks.
Sakath, his eyes uncovered.
Oh god. Homer at Moe's.
Temba, his arms wide. What was the one where their face is wet, like the children's face is wet?
Yeah, like they're crying or whatever.
Yeah, because he's fucking dead.
Because he's sad. Yeah, I don't remember all them all, but
I don't remember either. But like this episode is a masterpiece.
This episode is great. It might be the best episode we'll ever talk about. I don't know, man. This is so good. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh god, this is good. It's like the inner light, but the inner light takes something out of me a little more, I think. If I had to like, what's the word? If I had to compare them.
Oh yeah, like the way I always compare them is like, this episode is more in the universe of Star Trek.
Yeah,
like this is the episode I would suggest to somebody who wanted to know what Star Trek was all about.
Right.
And the inner light is what I would suggest to somebody when they wanted to see how far the boundaries of Star Trek could be pushed in the world of Star Trek in order to tell an amazing story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I can't. If you didn't watch this episode, you're an idiot.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Turn this shit off and go fucking watch it. It's great. I don't know what else to say about it. I don't know.
It is Star Trek.
Yep.
In a way that like very few episodes of Star Trek capture everything it means to be an episode of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like there are characters learning lessons in this episode. There are characters giving their lives for betterment of their people. Yep. There is like gaining understanding of those that we think are our enemies to begin with.
Yep. It's everything. It's every like hallmark of Star Trek in one perfectly written story. Like it's crazy, right? Like
it's wild that this guy wrote Masks.
So I don't know if you're looking at the same thing I am, probably, but apparently Rick Berman hated this episode.
Well, Rick Berman's a fucking idiot. No wonder he hated this episode.
He hated the premise. He didn't like the premise, but like
he liked the episode apparently.
Yeah.
But he didn't like the premise to begin with.
But it's like, what a fucking amazing, like we did Arena, and like like, what a great homage to Arena, but what a fucking perfect turn it on its head.
Oh,
like,
yeah. It's like the complete turnaround of it, but it works perfectly in the same way.
Incredible. It's genius. And, like, I'm glad we did Arena and then we did this, because I never really realized it, like, how similar they are, and how much this episode of TNG, like, really shows, like, the evolution of Star Trek up to this point, right? Like, now Star Trek is, like, really hitting a stride where you're like, okay,
oh yeah, like,
this is
Star
like
Trek
a legitimate
has
storytelling.
Yeah, Star Trek has its core at this point, and it's solid, and it's perfectly capable of supporting any type of story. In a way that previously, like, stories that had a bit of shaky ground are now, like, concrete solid.
Yep.
If you put them in that core.
Yeah.
A not so fun fact of the week for you.
Oh boy.
Is Doctor Who writer and later executive producer Russell T Davies read the advertising blurb for the episode.
Okay.
And never watched it on purpose because he loved the idea so much he didn't want it to be sullied by the episode, which means he completely fucked it. Because the episode is better than the idea by far.
Yeah. The idea is great, but it's not that great. It's the episode, everything makes it. It's like one of those things in anything, in art, and where it comes together, and you're like, this is fucking perfect.
Like, I read that, and I was like, man, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
That's people, man. That's fucking people, dude. If Twitter was around back then, he'd be one of those people. I don't like it. I won't say it. Yeah.
I don't want to watch it, but I'm gonna rip it off for an episode of Doctor Who later.
What did he rip off though? What episode was it?
Apparently, let's see. Oh God, Midnight.
Which one's that one?
It's a Doctor Who episode called Midnight.
What season is it from?
I don't know.
I'm looking it up.
It's the 10th episode of Series 4 of Doctor Who. It's got the 10th Doctor.
Yeah, okay. I don't remember this, but...
The 10th Doctor and Donna Noble go to the leisure planet of Midnight for a simple, relaxing holiday.
Oh, it's Dr. Donna.
However, life with the Doctor can never be that simple, and things go horribly wrong for the Doctor when he decides to go off on a bus trip to see the Sapphire Waterfall, starting with the bus shutting down. When a mysterious entity infiltrates the shuttle bus, no one is to be trusted, not even the Doctor himself.
That sounds dumb.
That doesn't sound like this episode at all. Of course it's not this episode, because he didn't watch it.
Billie Piper is in it at this point. I love her. Oh my god.
Yeah, she's
Billie
great.
Piper.
Oh my god. We gotta go, everybody. You know what? If you haven't watched Darmok, you're dumb. For one. For two, go watch it, because it is literally the best episode of Star Trek ever.
Yeah, I don't think we need to really say anymore. This episode rules. It's awesome.
We do need to tell people that if you're not a patron of M-Class Podcast, you're missing out, you great big dummy.
You idiot! What are you doing?
For as little as $1 a month, you could be part of our patron exclusive Discord channel, where all the cool shit that goes on in our emails episode is happening behind the scenes.
There's some pretty fucking funny people in that Discord, man.
They're like, our fan base is full of genuinely really cool people, which is crazy to me, since fan bases usually suck. But ours is actually really cool.
He's not wrong.
That's like $1 a month, and then for like a couple bucks more, like, you also get like wallpapers, free wallpapers made out of all the episode art for M-Class.
We also did a stream recently where we played a Star Trek game, and then we played other games.
Yeah, we played like 20 minutes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine Corridors of Time for Sega Genesis.
Like 4 hours.
That's not a good game, everybody.
It felt like we're still playing it.
Part of my soul is forever trapped in that fucking cartridge.
Yeah, it wasn't a good game. I'll say that.
And then we played Streets of Rage and then Kid Chameleon.
Kid Chameleon, which is great game.
They were, and that was a lot more fun. And everybody had a good time, or else I told myself they did. One or the other.
I'm gonna pretend like they had the best time of their lives. Because
I thought it was fun. We're good.
Yeah, I had the best time of my life, so why didn't they have fun?
Yeah, it's their fault if it wasn't fun. For just a couple more bucks a month, you could get M-Class email a week early every time it comes out. You get Jeff and Josh Shoot the Shit, a podcast about any other topic besides Star Trek.
Yeah, sometimes it's about skipping school like cool dudes.
Fuck yeah.
And sometimes it's about other things we talk about, like, I don't know, Longmire.
Sometimes it's about Star Trek, even though it's not supposed to be.
Yeah, we go off the rails. It could really be about anything at any point.
That's the point. It's about anything. Of course, higher tiers get you more stuff, get you all kinds of cool shit.
I'll come over to your house and pants you.
Patreon.com/mclasspodcast.
I'll be your stepdad.
Well, at least for a night.
Go to sleep!
Go to sleep. Me and your mom gotta make fun times together.
We're gonna make another you.
Except better this time, and it's gonna replace you.
Stop packing your bags, kid.
So become a patron today. Become a patron today, and Josh will be your dad.
Yep. That's how it works.
You can also shoot us an email at mclassemail@gmail.com. Be on our program, mclass email with us. We'll answer your questions, talk to your fake characters, whatever the fuck you want.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
And we got a Twitter as well. It's at mclasspodcast for all the updates and secrets and behind the scenes, whatever.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Follow it.
Go to our Twitters, too. What's yours, Jeff?
It is @_Jeff Pennington.
You still haven't killed that other guy, huh?
No, I did ask him if I could have his Twitter, but he never responded. So I'm going to guess no.
He's not even on it anymore, I don't think. He hasn't tweeted in like 3 years.
He tweeted like a non sequitur the other day. That was just like,
hilarious.
Had a great time with George.
Way to go, George. He made the tweet wall.
I was like, well, I'm glad you're still using this name, you asshole.
Fuck that guy. I hate that Jeff Pennington.
He's a good guy. From everything I've seen about him, he's a great guy. Not better than me.
Well, I mean, who is?
He thinks he's better than me?
No way.
He thinks he's better than me?
No fucking way, motherfucker.
You ain't better than me. But follow us on Twitter. Josh, what's your Twitter name?
My Twitter is @Henderson1983, which is the year I was born.
God, you old.
I'm an old-ass man, dude.
Dude, you look good for your age.
9 minutes. I'm turning my birthday in 9 minutes.
Yeah, happy birthday, Josh.
Well, it won't be my birthday in 9 minutes when they're listening to it. It'll be 6 yesterdays ago.
Yeah, it'll have been his birthday for quite a while at that point.
Well, I'm a white chick now, so my birthday's all month.
His birthday started on the 1st.
Yep. Ends on the 30th.
It ends when he says it ends.
It ends when I'm sick of you fucks.
So
Get out of my face.
Get out of Josh's face. Thanks for tuning in.
I love you.
We'll be back in 1 month with more M-Class. Bye-bye.
1 month?
1 week with more M-Class. Bye-bye.
I'm mentally ill.